Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey everybody, the old captain here, and we have Glorious Hat. You can go to glorioushat.com, get your Glorious Hat for winter. We have a video request, and if you have a request, you could go to assholeconsulting.com. Had to do a little bit of research on this one, because I want to make sure, normally when I get a request, it's within my life experience or knowledge or wisdom or data that I've researched. I already have the answer. Here I want to make sure on a couple things, because it's an important request, and I'll just read it here and you'll see why. Subject is terrorist shootings. Can you make a video explaining the rise of terrorist shootings? What are the contributing factors, and what can we do to reduce them? So the first thing I wanted to do is make sure that there was an increase in terrorist shootings. Just because it's in the news doesn't mean there's an increase in terrorist and mass shootings. And it is true in both cases. And I'm separating it for analytical purposes in one regard, but I do consider terrorism or terrorism attacks and mass shootings to be all terrorism, because basically it's just cowardly people through greedy and self-exaltation purposes find no problem killing other people for sick and twisted reasons. And whereas the cultural differences between a terrorist attack and a mass shooting might be different, I do believe, and there are different causes for each of them, and the nature of both are different, but there are some universal causes that are the same. Regardless, I looked up both to see if both terrorist attacks, and mass shootings have been going up, and they have, and you can see with the links I provide below. Terrorism, it kind of goes like this, but the general trend is upward, and the data is not perfect. It doesn't go up to 2015. I tried to find the most recent data, but I think 2012 is the most recent I have it. And then mass shootings are also increased by threefold since 1970. And, you know, we can go ahead, question my fucking data, then you fucking do the research and find out. But it shows that both terrorism and mass shootings are increasing, which I consider, again, under the general terrorism cabal, regardless of what your race, ethnicity, reason, purpose, or cause for it is. Terrorism in general is increasing throughout the world. Now, if we break it down, because we have two different general types of terroristic attacks. We have terrorism predominantly caused by Islamic terrorists, and then you have in the United States at least, or more in Europe as well, or these mass shootings, or in China because they ban guns so they have no problems. It's just mass stabbings. Because we just ban guns, everything will be swell. Now, the cause for terrorism in terms of Islamic terrorism, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You have the wars in the Middle East. There was always going way back, 1948, you have Israel being plopped right down in the middle of the Mideast. The Arabs and the Syrians and the Jordanians, they didn't like that. So then there were a couple wars. There's certainly some terrorism against Israel. But not until, and even in 93, when what's-his-face tried to bomb the World Trade Center the first time, America's kind of, heck, we had our Arab allies fighting off Saddam Hussein back in 91, the first Gulf War. So things were actually kind of kosher and nice with the Arabs. Well, then in comes, I want to say Barack Hussein Obama, that's not the guy. The dude, the one we killed, Osama bin Laden, that guy. Okay, so he and then we had Respawn. George Bush went over there, and we fucking laid waste, and then we stirred up the hornet's nest, and now, this is coming on what, 12 years later? A lot of these kids lost their fathers, a lot of destruction and mayhem, and as we come to find out, Saddam Hussein was a load-bearing dictator, and now we have generated, well, you could almost say 12 years later, a whole new generation of terrorists. So, in simply going over there and fighting with these people, and all the Shiites hate the Sunnis, the Sunnis hate the Shiites, and all this other stuff, a lot of people are pissed off at the United States and the Western nations, so that's increased it as well. In combination with that, don't forget what we've done on our homeland to ensure that terrorists and people that hate us can come here and kill us. Most recently, the refugees that are kind of coming in right now, but in general, this push for multiculturalism from people who, frankly, hate the West, and most, not all, hate white people. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. I hate to be so simplistic, but that's what it is. You have a group of leftists that hate America, hate Western civilization, and in part hate white people as well. They just hate these people and they hate this culture. And they darn well know that if they get other people who are not your standard Western European or Western civilization type people, immigrants to come in, the Labor and Democrat parties and other leftist parties, socialist parties, will have not only a future voting bloc, but for some of the more malicious people who just hate their own country and hate Western civilization, they know it will destroy them. I guarantee you right now there are leftists that are happy that the Paris terrorist attacks happen, that the San Bernardino assault or shooting happened. They're happy about it because they hate America. They hate the West. I don't mean to sound like Sarah Palin. It's true. Wake the fuck up. Have you gone to a college class? Have you listened to some of these professors? These people don't like Western civilization. They're brainwashed not to like it. They're brainwashed to be whiny little bitchy cunts. And even though they're feminists, you know, they swear they're for women's rights and all that, even though these leftists would be the first that these Muslims kill, the leftists hate the American people and the Western European and Western civilization, capitalists in general, so much they would gladly side with the terrorists before they side with Americans and other freedom-loving people. So there is a huge political push to get these people into the country, and multiculturalism and diversity is great for its own sake, and oh, no cultures are superior or antithetical to other cultures. Oh no, everybody's wonderful. Come in here, sing kumbaya. So you just have more people coming in. As you found out in Paris, like what, the one guy, he was just in fucking Greece, one of those guys coming through on the passport. So that is not only because of the war started in the Middle East and the terrorist attacks that instigated that, also because of multiculturalism. Now you have just frankly more terrorists in your country. So that's how it works. Now as for mass shootings, completely different on the face of it reasons for the increase in the attacks of mass shootings. But if you look at the Elliot Rodgers, the guy at Aurora, I don't remember these guys' names. The only reason I remember Elliot Rodgers is because of Elliot and E.T., which I know sounds weird, but that's the only reason I remember his name. You have all these people, and they fit a profile. Just like the Muslim terrorists fit a profile, these guys fit a profile. They were nerds. They were virgin MGTOWs. If you don't know what that is, look that up. A lot of them were on prescription drugs. There was a lack of fathers around. There was nobody to teach them anything. They were sexually frustrated. And this doesn't mean all of them. I mean, what's his name? The guy who did the Oklahoma City bombing. That was a right-wing racist kook. But as of more recent, the ones that we've seen recently with these millennial shooters, is that these are boys who have not acclimated to society well. They just have not done it. And if you could see, and it's not a perfect correlation, but definitely a lack of fathers, prescription drugs, lack of economic growth. There's no jobs out there. There's no point and purpose. They have no agency. And also feminism. This is what you reap when you sow. When you take away women, when you turn women into basically insufferable women that you can't date because they're insufferable, and they're not sexy and they're not supporting, you just take away one gender, the other one will fail and collapse. And so feminism and saying you don't need a man and effectively replacing men with the government. Men used to be the nucleus of the family, and the family used to be the building block of society. We were key. We were what made America great. Now that we are slowly, if not already outright being replaced, as in case in black communities, fully completely replaced by government checks. So these young boys don't have any agency. Now, also they don't have any fathers. If the fathers are around, they are completely non-participatory in raising these children. And so these poor kids are just basically doped up on a ton of prescription drugs. They're not given any wisdom. They're thrown out into the real world. Their biology tells them, yeah, I want to have sex with girls. I want to get girls. They fail miserably. They did exactly what their single mothers and media and feminism told them to do. Be nice, be kind. You never hit the gym. Don't be a badass. Don't learn to become a mechanic. Oh, no. And when this very important thing, this, if not the most important thing, which is what men are biologically programmed to want more than anything else, it doesn't work, you throw in the fucking drugs fucking with their mind, Lord knows what all this other touchy-feely leftist educational bullshit, you're all winners, blah, blah, blah. And they go off the deep end. They go off the fucking deep end, and nothing makes any sense anymore, and they just fucking write a fucking diatribe, or what do they call it? They pen some kind of screed and they go off and they kill a bunch of people. So those are the causes of, at least in the United States, these mass shootings. Now, in both, even though there are definitely some different causes for the two different types of terrorism, there are some common causes that both share, all right? And it has to do with men and agency, okay? Men, and this is why it's men doing it, not a lot of women doing it, but predominantly men that are doing this crazy ass shit. We build society. Doesn't matter what's it. We build it. Okay? We are the ones that have created fucking everything. I know there might be a girl that created a fingernail fungus antifungal thing. Okay, great. All right, thank you very much for your contribution. But by and large, civilization is built by men. Right? And the reason it's built by men is because typically we want to have sex and we'll work hard to get it, to demonstrate our wealth and build up this so that we can get girls and we can procreate and have children, blah, 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 blah. Now, to do this, you need an insane amount of energy. Fuck the sun. Men have way more energy than the sun. Okay? We are more powerful than the sun. We're more powerful than gravity. All right? That we are more powerful than the powers of the universe. If you give men an incentive, they will take their unlimited energy and make the most amazing shit, making lives a lot better for us all. Again, how civilization was built. But if you don't channel this unlimited energy into something, and you don't give them a reason or a purpose, or a reason or an agency to become a productive member of society, they won't produce, they will destroy. Right? And we could kind of see this, and it's not a perfect analogy, but you could kind of see it. Let's say you're in the Middle East. What the fuck do you have to live for? The fucking Saudis, fucking Prince Son Makmakalaka has 18 wives. Right? You think there's a woman shortage over in China? Fucking try your average Middle Eastern country, where all the rich sultans and the rich guys got a disproportionate number of the women. You leave a shortage of women for it. Oh, but hey, guess what? Did you hear? It's not a coincidence that they fucking tell you get 72 brown-eyed virgins. Look, try dating 2 girls at the same time. Try dating 4. I did it. It was a pain in the ass. Fuck 72. That does not sound like heaven. And King Solomon with his 1,000 concubines, I don't know what the fuck that's about, but if any wise man doesn't want that. Anyway, it's not coincidence that promised virgins in heaven, or there's this rape culture going on in ISIS, or that these guys are just a bunch of fucking horny guys that can't keep it in your pants, and all these Swedish gals are getting raped. Oh, was there a little rape thing going on in Germany? And no, were the refugees kind of a little rapey? A little more rapey than those stupid asshole frat boys you feminists are all worried about over on college campus? A little more rapey? It's all right. They're minorities, and by gosh, we gotta forgive them. And there's an article about that. What was it on InfoWars? Anyway, I don't care what culture you come from. Sex is, especially when you're a younger man, a huge driving factor. And so it is not a coincidence that these guys were promised in the afterlife, hey, 72 virgins. And not to mention, I'll give you a little bit of inside information. The Saudis, those royals, they drink like fucking fishes and they fuck tons of women. All right, don't think, oh, Islam is just clean up. No, it's all bullshit. It's like any other religion. It started out as a means to control people and be a government. Anyway, the larger point is, for your average guy in the Middle East, there's Ahmed. He's got nothing. Fucking Russians bombing, Iran bombs Iraq, Iraq bombs Iran. We come in and invade twice. I'm not arguing whether it was right or wrong. I'm just saying it's kind of chaotic in the Middle East. Not a lot of stability, not a lot of economic growth. And so when you have the chance to be a goat herder and get bombed, or you lost your dad, you lost your mom, you lost your brother, you lost your siblings, probably the only thing to go to would be Islam. It's right there. Oh, I'm going to join. I'm going to fight somewhere. It doesn't even matter where. ISIS, I'm going to join the American coalition. It doesn't matter. They'll join anything, anywhere, just so they have some kind of purpose or agency. If they join terrorism, which might be predisposed to do, that is the destruction. We're going to destroy. We're not going to produce. We're not going to become engineers, because it doesn't look like we can become engineers here. So we're going to go and we're going to fight and we're going to destroy. I have all this energy, all this rage. I want to have some kind of point and purpose and agency in my life. I will join ISIS. I will join Al-Qaeda. I will do whatever. In the United States and the Western world as well, it's not that we're getting bombed, but we don't have a lot of point and purpose anymore either. As I said before, the government has replaced men. Women don't need men anymore. We are not the head of the household anymore. A government check is the head of the household. Barack Obama is head of the household. Women are in love with the federal government or the state government, and they get their government check. Now, what you've done there is you've taken away the most important thing that men are genetically and biologically hardwired to want more than anything else. And normally what you would do is you would go and work hard to support your wife and your family, and you'd have economic production, you would be the engine of economic growth and innovation, and that's how Western culture and Western civilization grew so quickly, in part. But without that, without women now, well, he's got to have this, he's got to have that, and women are told now, oh, well, you got to get a master's degree, and you have to have a career, and you're a worthless, and oh, God, you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. You're a stupid idiot woman if you ever want to do that. How dare you? That's not feminist. You got to go and become... And so by the time they're 35, looking to settle down, not only are their eggs kind of dusty, they're kind of not that hot anymore. And then guys, like when you should, you hit puberty at like 12 or 13, because that's nature telling you it's about time to... Women will wait till they're thrice that age before they start thinking about kids nowadays. So there's no women out there. There's no market. Women are taught to dismiss men. I push them off till later. Not to mention, you girls treat men like fucking shit in the Western. You girls, sorry, dated more than... Before you tell me, well, I know women... Dude, have you dated over 300 women? Because I have. And that's more experience than any of you women are going to critique me right now. And you're all a pain in the fucking ass. And not all of you, but very few percentage of you are tolerable and worth going out on the second date. The vast majority of you are drama-filled, psycho-crazy girls that I don't know if you watch too much 90210 or whatever. Anyway, if you're this poor guy today, and the women are not interested in forming families, and when you date them, they're psycho crazy bitches doing the drama, throwing temper tantrums and all this other stuff, your energies are starting to like build up. Like, where do I go? What do I do? I need to do something. Well, no, you could have an outlet in Western civilization because we're reasonably civil. That assumes that you would have a career to go to. And what's happening to the economies? Oh, that's right. Well, you see, when the government replaces men, and we're going to basically pay women, finance families, single-family homes, whatever else, not to mention pay for all this stuff we have to pay for, including wars. Well, taxes go up. And when taxes go up, guess what happens to economic growth? It goes down. And so now, what could have been used as a substitute reason or purpose or agency in life, your career, that's also shot down. Matter of fact, what's really ironic is that with all this extra government spending, women actually do quite well because, frankly, I'm sorry, ladies, you don't have the mathematical skills, or actually, you choose not to have the mathematical skills. I know women are capable of doing it. They just choose not to. You girls choose to go into the liberal arts and the humanities, which actually is employed then by the government. So we got more teachers, guidance counselors, therapists, social workers, all this other crap to deal with all the problems. Well, then we got divorce, single-family homes, and all that. So the government is expanding, disproportionately employing more women. So women actually kind of do have this, albeit made-up, fake career just for you. And then there is no or less private sector economic growth, which is typically where the men go, and they could become innovative and creative and all that. So now these men are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You throw in student loans, and yeah, it's not a good situation. They got a bunch of student debts. They're not successful with women because they've been lied to. On top of it, women are not looking to get married or start families. On top of that, women are trained to be kind of insufferable and a pain in the ass and dramatic. And even if you wanted to go and start some kind of company or all that, the economic growth has been slowing down. It's about 60% of what it used to be back in the booming, those evil, racist, bigoted, sexist, homophobic 40s and 50s, which we all hate. Economic growth back then was almost twice of what it is today. So without that economic growth, what do the guys do? Porn, admire in it, they lose their testosterone, they get hair buns. I saw one of these fuckers today, swear to God. The genetics in me want to kill them, just like if I kill you, the herd will increase their chances of survival by 200%. You must die. Which I'm not recommending you do. But they become listless. Now, they get depressed, they get drugged up, they go on the Ritalin, they get lost in video games, but some of them, especially those with grandiosity ideas or self-delusion, think they are entitled to more, think they deserve more. And then they get pissed. And what do? Well, they go and they shoot up. They make the decision. Well, I can't produce, but I'm going to destroy. That energy is going to go somewhere. And you can... I took a note here. Oh, so the solution. I'll get to the solution here. How do we stop it? Basically, you got to give men a point and reason to live. It doesn't matter if your name is Muhammad, if your name is Steve, your name is Pablo, or if your name is Sven. Men need to produce. We need some kind of point and purpose and agency, right? And that's pretty much what the history of the world has been, especially Western civilization, is getting government out of it, getting the state, getting the religion, getting the tribal chieftains out of it, and having the government serve us. But that was a very brief thing. It was maybe 150 years, maybe 200 years of an experiment, and it worked great. But now we're starting to go the other way because predominantly women want to vote in more of the state. And that edges out men. So what we have to do, we have to champion three things. One, you need to have fathers around, okay? This single mom, single family, all families are equal. No, fuck you. By far, the most superior family is the nuclear family. End of discussion. End of story. I know you leftists make all your money on the chaos and misery of broken families and broken homes. I know you just like stick your little fucking vampire fangs into the black community and suck the blood out and remove the fathers. I know it's fun for you when you're employed. There might be some problems. Some kids might suffer a little bit. But can we think about those guys, huh? So we need fathers around. You need fathers to train their sons, not just in how to control their energy and direct their energy and discipline themselves and become productive members of society, but to teach their sons how to get women, how to get women to like them, how to attract women, and also wisdom about raising families and the meaning of life and stuff like that. But fathers, either because their deadbeat dads ran away, mom's a slut, or you're a father, but you're too busy to raise your son because you're a corporate executive type fucking douche, fuck you. Just fuck you. And guess what? You're the, no guarantee, but you're the breeding grounds for future mass shooters and terrorists. Right? The other thing, we got to get wives. Okay? Not like we all need women, we need wives. But the women have got to either say, okay, be honest with yourself. Do you want to have kids? Do you want to raise families? If you don't, then fine. This is all done. It's over with. A more Neanderthalic type culture will take over this one. But we need to have, okay, look. Women and men are made for each other, and men are doing their part, going to school, Women should also do their part, probably become supportive. That's it. We're not saying you have to stay at home, be barefoot and pregnant, but could you be supportive? Could you realize the time life? If you want to have kids, then go get your career, okay? That is what would really anchor men down. Then they have children like, oh, I have a vested interest in the future. I want to make sure my kids grow up right. Okay, I want to make sure the world is safe, and then they have a vested interest in society. Otherwise, they're just like, yeah, Allah Akbar, I can't get laid. That's kind of what will happen. And the third thing is to get the economy going so that men have the ability to support their wives and their children, and they also have added purpose and agency on top of that. And to do that, you have to minimize the state, you have to minimize the government, and increase the private sector. You have to let people be free and let them keep the majority of their wealth. Let men and women, it's not just men, it's women that want to go out and work too. Let them be, let them create. Of course, none of this is going to happen. And in the case of the Mideast or Islamic terrorism, it's Islam that's getting it. It's the state. It's the state. Islam is the state, the theocracy. Okay, maybe it's not a government, but it is a form of state control. Islam is the state over there, and it wants to interrupt that. We can't have you boys working on your own. Then you won't need the imams. You won't need the religion. And what are we supposed to do? Get real jobs? What? Have one wife? Well, I'm the fucking Prince of Saudi Arabia. I should have fucking 8 wives because fuck, I'm more important than other people because I don't fucking know why. I was just born to the right people. So there's that form of the state that is ruining the lives of a million. And seriously, I feel bad for terrorists, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, whatever, because you look at they're young guys. They're dumber than shit. They don't know what they're doing. In the case of the U.S. or Western civilization, you got to get the state out. You got to get the government to quit being the fucking surrogate father and daddy and everything else because it's taking over the role of men. But as a society, though, in Islam, in the Muslim countries, I can the totalitarian dictatorships, I can at least understand where it's not the people's fault because they don't get to vote or it's such a corrupt government. There really is no point in voting. But in the United States and Western civilization, and Western countries, it's within our power, but frankly, I mean, look how we vote. We choose not. They just fucking elected, I mean, come on, Trudeau getting elected in Canada. France elected a fucking socialist. Bernie Sanders here might win. We elected Barack Obama. It's pretty clear where the population as a whole, Muslim or non-Muslim, wants to go. And to the client's request, I wish there was a solution, but I really don't think there is one. I would say don't breed, don't have kids, don't bring them into this world. That's just me personally. A lot of people disagree with me. Buy a gun, get armor, enjoy your life. But we're not going to win this one. I really don't think so. I wish we could, because I think not just Westerners, but God, a lot of Muslims would be a lot happier. A lot of people in all the way. I mean, I'm leaving huge swaths of the world population, but these problems are universal because it's universal to the male gender. But if we were honest about this and we actually wanted to, yeah, we could have a hell of a lot better planet. But we got too many power-hungry assholes that want a larger state or a larger religion to rule over other people. And what's really sad is even in democracies where you think people would be independent-minded enough to ID this bullshit, we willingly vote this poison in. So, drink more. If you got a good-looking gal, go have sex. Play with her boobies. I'm a big fan of playing with boobies. Say, what do you want to do? Xbox or boobies? Boobies. Yay. And just have fun while you're here. Because when you're dead, you're dead. And worrying about shit that's out of your control is just going to lessen your life by untold orders of magnitude. So, best of luck. Toodles.